Hello, everybody, and welcome or welcome back to the second shelf and to the first review video of books off the long list of the Women's Prize. As you know, if you follow my channel, that is, and if you're interested, I am planning, or I committed to reading the long-listed book, the 16 long-listed books, and make reviews before the shortlist is announced on the 26th of April. I will film review videos, like 2 or 3 books together in the coming weeks. So not only will there be probably a video again on Wednesday, but it might also be that I will film reviews on Friday so that I get actually all the 16 books done before and reviewed before the shortlist is announced. Anyway, public service announcement. I will start with 2 books, and the one book that I DNF'd, to get that sort of out of the way. I try not to DNF long-listed books, but this one I already read before the list was announced, and I decided not to reread it or try to finish it unless it's shortlisted. If it's shortlisted, I will do it. And the rest of the list, I will try not to DNF anything. But if it's just not working for me at all, I can't promise not to DNF anything. Anyway, the book I DNF'd, I'm sorry to say, is Glory by No Violet Bulawayo. Bulawayo is a Zimbabwean author, and I read her debut novel a couple of years ago, We Need New Names, and really liked it. It was not a perfect book, no book is, but also it had flaws, but it was a debut. There was a voice in there that I felt was really, really strong, but it wasn't, that voice didn't come through all the way through the book. But there was enough there that I thought, oh, this is going to be, the next book or the book after. Unfortunately, Glory was not that book. It's set, or it tells the story of the Zimbabwean revolution is maybe, I don't know whether she uses that word, I don't think so. It's the ousting, I think she uses. The coup. Okay. Coup. She says coup. In 2017, when Mugabe was overthrown after decades and decades and decades of ruling the country. That's what the story is about as a historical fiction premise. It tackles very interesting topics about power, but also about gender, female suppression, powerful men, how they act. That all sounded really, really interesting. But Bulawayo decided to make all the people into animals. So you have the old horse, which is who is the president, and everybody is an animal. For the rest, they just act like people and they talk, and and that just did not work for me at all. I love Animal Farm. I love a lot of books. I have no problem with the animalization. But for some reason in this book, it just didn't work for me. I was really, really bored. That could also be from the style. So I've read, a good chunk, about half, but it didn't work. The way the story was told, this is a very gripping premise, that coup in 2017, and I know very little about the ins and outs of the coup, and somebody from within the country writing about the political machinations, so if you will. I'm all in it, but yeah, I know a couple of people who told me, well, you should stick with it, and then in the last third, it really takes off. That might very well be, but I just couldn't bring myself so far. I couldn't bring myself so far I couldn't bring myself to do that. But like I said, if it's shortlisted, and I would not be surprised if it were shortlisted, then I will actually do that. But yeah, no, sorry about that. The other book that I have a physical copy of, and it's one of the books off the list. By the way, you find all the long listed books, of course, in the description. But this was one of the books that I was planning on reading, and I had already bought a copy also before the list was announced, and that is Natalie Haynes' Stone Blind, Medusa's Story. Natalie Haynes is an author, comedian, historian, because she writes mainly about Greek mythology. Her non-fiction book about Pandora's Jar was fabulous. Her book, 1,000 Ships, about the Trojan War, I really, really liked. She tries to give voice, in the vein of Madeline Miller, her book Circe. So she tries to give voice to female actors that didn't have a voice back then and even now. So of course you probably, if you've a little bit familiar with mythology, you know Medusa. She was raped by Poseidon in the temple of Athene, and Athene, as a goddess, female goddess, tends to do, she was angry at Medusa, not at the rapist, and she turned her into a horrible figure where the hair are snakes, and whoever looks at her turns to stone. And then you have that whole hero quest in order to kill her. So this is supposed to be her story. It's a little bit misleading, I would say, because it's more than that. It is a retelling of the family, so to speak. So you have Zeus and Hera as the main gods, and their marital quarrels. You have their children, and then Athena is born, and then you indeed have Medusa, who is living with the Gorgons, and so it is a much broader angle than just quote-unquote Medusa's story, which is fine, by the way. Of course, the focus is then on, where Medusa came from and where Athena came from, because she is the main antagonist, so to speak, of Medusa, because she determines her horrible fate. I don't know why I look here. I have to look at the camera. Never mind. So, I liked it, but I didn't love it as much I expected to love it. Maybe one reason is that I said that when I discussed my view on the long list, maybe these retellings have run its course, or their course. Could be. There were quite a lot of them after Madeline Miller's Circe. That could be it. But then for me personally, I don't think I had enough retellings. I really like them. I think my issue why I didn't over the moon love it, it was well crafted. You can feel that Natalie Haynes has the knowledge basis for the retellings. She knows what she's talking about, and that feels very comfortable as a reader. She just takes your hand and off you go. But what I really appreciated in her previous book, 1,000 Ships, and also in a book like Circe, is that the author added something that was, in a way, fiction. I mean, it's all fiction, of course, but that this is just a pretty straightforward retelling, and there's added dialogue, and there is, a little bit of a twist, how she pictures the gods, and that is quite funny at times, but it's not really anything that new in the story. if you are familiar with the retelling, it tells the story as you know it with some additions. I don't think I explained this very well because this sounds very negative. It's really well done. But I like it when a retelling surprises me and gives me an angle or a characterization of a person, or god, or mythological being that I didn't expect and didn't know. And that, I think, then you can show me something about this particular myth that I maybe hadn't thought of. I don't know. Does that make sense? Yeah, probably not. But anyway, so I liked it, but I wasn't loving it the way I expected it to love it. But that's okay. It's still certainly one of the books that will not end up in the bottom half of the list. But I doubt whether it will be shortlisted in my book. I mean, we will talk about predictions all the way towards the end when I reviewed all of the 16 books. So these are the first two, Glory and Stone Blind. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know down in the comments whether you read any of the two and whether you liked them, maybe more than I did, certainly with Glory. And I will continue this, like I said, with 2 or 3 books lumped together in one video. And the next one will probably be up on Friday, I think. We'll see about that. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. I'm looking forward to your comments as always, and I'll talk to you all soon in the next one.